What is up, everyone? It is time we get back to work on the Cressida. I have the trans all figured out. I swapped the throwout bearing over. I got a new setup for it, got it all back together, so it's time to put the trans back in the car. But first, gotta get the car back over, get it back on the jacks, and we can get back to work. Alright, it's all jacked up, ready to go. I am going to put the trans in. Let's hope it doesn't go too bad. Being on jack stands kind of sucks, but let's see what happens. Alright, trans is back in. That sucked. And don't be like me, kids. Keep better track of your hardware. I had to run around for a minute and figure out where I put the 4 bolts for the trans mount. But it's back in now. It's all good to go. Obviously, I got to go through the rest of it, but you guys don't need to watch that. But it's in. I'm going to put everything else together, get it all done, and hopefully we'll be able to test it in a little bit. What is up, everyone? The Cressida. So I have been messing with it, and I could not get the clutch to actually disengage. So basically, it just wasn't going far enough. I felt like the pedal needed to go further, but it couldn't. So I actually found out that the master cylinder, the one in the car is a 5/8, and the one that I got here is a 3/4. So after doing a lot of research with an internal slave, like the LS style internal slave that's in it, or sorry, the T56, that the slave needs to be at least 3/4. So this should solve our problem. I'm going to go ahead and switch this out and hopefully bleed it, and hopefully we'll have a working clutch. I also got the fuel pump here set up and back together. I got the tank pretty well all cleaned out. So I'm going to hopefully have that back together, and hopefully we'll have this thing running and driving in the next week. But for now, let's see if we can just get this clutch figured out so we can move on to the gas tank. It works. It took me quite a while to figure it out, but I got it. I got it all switched out. The only thing that I want to show you guys that's kind of weird here, this thing spun around. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to still keep the wipers for the time being. That kind of sucks. I got to figure that out. But at least I know that a 3/4 inch one will work. It pushes it all the way, and it actually is disengaging. So basically what I would do is put it in gear, try to spin the rear wheels. It's a welded diff, so it would, if it would spin in gear, the clutch was working. It wasn't doing that at first, but you hold the clutch in, it wouldn't do anything, and finally after bleeding it and getting the new one and getting it straight and getting it lined up, it worked. Kind of a pain, but we're there. So the next thing I got to do is get this gas tank back in this thing, and we should be running and driving. Alright, so we got the Walboro pump hooked up to the factory lines there and got it all back in the tank. Got the tank all cleaned out, ready to go back in the car. It wasn't as bad as I thought, so I ended up just cleaning it. So now we are going to get the tank back in and run the one line that got broken and fix that real quick, and then we should be able to throw some gas in it. I'm going to throw some stable except fuel, stabilizer in it too, just because there's some crap in the tank still, I'm sure. And see if we can get it to fire up. Alright, I got the tank all back in. I left the line here unhooked that comes up out of the filter. So I'm going to put this in a bottle and then cycle the key and just see what's going on. I want to make sure any shitty fuel that was left in the system doesn't go through the engine if it doesn't have to. So I'm going to kind of just do this, run it through it. I got 5 gallons of gas to throw in it and some stabilizer. So we'll go ahead and get that all in there and then turn it over a couple times. Hopefully we get some fuel. And if that works out, then we can put it back together and hopefully fire it up. Key in this thing is so annoying. We got fuel. a bit more. Try to get some more fuel out of it. Hopefully it'll come back cleaner. Watching it go through looks much cleaner now. All right, it's go time. This will be the first time I've ever heard it run outside of using starter fluid. Let's see what happens. All right, we can grab a new battery and see if we can get fire up. Alright, so it still won't fire. It's trying to fire, but it sounds like it's only like one side's firing. I'm pulling all the plugs. I'm going to check and see if both sides are flooded. I started to pull them on the driver's side, and they are. But I'm going to pull all the plugs, swap all the plugs. And if I notice one side's flooded and the other side's not, then I'm going to go ahead and get a coil. So I can't get one in today, but I can get one for tomorrow. That's the best part about this engine, is because it was, on an LS 400, the engine's pretty easy to come by versus, a different swap like an SR or 2J or something. It's easy to get these parts. So swap the plugs, see what it's looking like, and see what happens. All right, got all the plugs changed, all back together. All the plugs have the same amount of fuel as far as looking like they were all fouled, so I don't think it's a spark issue, but I was going to fire it and see what happens. Go from there. It doesn't seem to want to rev. Seems like it's kind of just stuck. Honestly, it feels like it's running on one side. Like it's not running on all cylinders. Definitely feels like it's got a serious misfire or just not firing in general. I guess it's time to get into some diagnostics. Something's leaking out of the front here. That's not good. What the fuck is that? Coolant? Oh, I got lucky. Yeah, it is coolant, but it's just a vacuum cap they put over something that's high pressure coolant that's probably just not strong enough. It's just a zip tie holding it on, so I'll go ahead and switch that out. I'd hate to say it, but it's probably a bad ejector, but I'm going to keep looking around, look for big air leaks, look for things that can cause to run bad, and I guess see what happens. Alright, so check this out. Cylinder 1 fires. Cylinder 2 doesn't fire. Cylinder 3 fires. Cylinder 4 doesn't fire. Run plug wires. Cylinder 2 and 4 over there. 1 and 3 over here. So there's 2 coils. One there, there's one down here. So that coil's bad. gonna have to go ahead and order it. It'll be in tomorrow. So that's what I'm gonna do next. I'm gonna switch that out, and hopefully we'll have it running right. At this point, I'm gonna go ahead and put all the plugs back in, put everything else all back together, and probably put on the exhaust because it's currently just open headers. I wanted to leave it off for the time being, so that way I could really see what's going on if I had to mess with the fuel tank anymore or anything, because you can't get to the fuel tank with the exhaust on. So I'm going to finish that up, get everything done underneath, and then hopefully tomorrow we'll get the coil swapped in and she'll be ready to drive. Alright, it is the next day. I have the coil pack. I just switched that out, put that in, and put everything back together. This is going to be the first start with the new coil pack. Hopefully this solves our problem. Running the exact same. Alright, so a little bit of an update here. Wasn't the coil pack, I didn't make a difference. Tried the igniter, which is sitting over there, didn't make a difference. So it's all the cylinders on this cap and rotor. It has two of them, one on each side here, one over there, one over here. So I didn't get this apart. It's kind of a pain, and you gotta be really careful because when you lose hardware, it's gonna go down into the front timing covers. You're gonna end up having a not so fun day taking everything apart. So what I did is I just stuffed a rag down in there to keep it from being able to go anywhere. And I'm waiting on the parts to show up from O'Reilly's. Hopefully I'll have them today, probably not until tomorrow morning. And then I will get this switched out and hopefully it'll run on all cylinders. Alright, so another day has passed and I just changed out the cap and rotor that controls all the cylinders that aren't firing. Hopefully we finally figured it out here. I put the master cord back on just for sake of hopefully it runs somewhat decent. Alright, let's see if we're running on all cylinders. It ran like shit at first because those cylinders were so, full of just shit because not running, and wow, that is loud. Yeah, and that is the full exhaust back on it. It's like 8:30 in the morning, and there's an apartment complex right next door to me, so they're probably awake, but it runs. I guess at this point I'm going to button everything back up, put on all the little covers back on, and make sure everything's clamped down so there's no air leaks, and get it off the jacks and go out and piss off some neighbors. Yeah, buddy. Alright, so a bit of an update. I went for a drive and it died on me and I had to push it back over here. The fuel filter's bad, so I jacked it up outside, pulled the filter out of it. It is the LS400 filter, so they didn't have any in stock at the local O'Reilly's, but they're going to have one in for the morning. So it does run and drive. It's running on all cylinders. It moves under its own power. The clutch works. Every gear works. First, second, third, and reverse work. But it is currently dead. So hopefully I can get it switched out tomorrow morning, and then I can show you guys some footage actually driving this thing. We can finish up this video. But another day of fighting on it. This is, my 15th day in a row messing with this stupid thing. But I can't wait. It's so close, and it'll be worth it. So I got it back together. I took it for another drive. I made it about the same distance, and it died again. Brought it back. Same thing. Fuel filter's clogged again because the tank just had too much in it that I couldn't get it all cleaned out. So I was able to get on the fuel filter, and I went to go pull the line off, and the line going from the rail to the line that goes down to the fuel filter, that little metal line here broke. So I ordered one of those, but it won't be here till Friday. And it is Wednesday now, so I guess that's the end of this one, but it's running and driving. I'll put it back together, and you will be able to see it going down the road very soon. On my drive this time, I was able to get into it a little bit, and it just lit up the tires. 2,000 RPM, just spun like crazy. So it is going to be a lot of fun to drive. But I guess that's it here. I wanted to give you guys the update. It is running and driving, but I have to fix a couple little things. Hopefully this fuel filter will last, and maybe I don't have to put another one in it, but a couple filters, get some gas through it, get it all cleaned out, and it should be running and driving fine. I can actually drive the thing. It is crazy loud, but it is a blast. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching.